Hi, good morning, everyone. Glad you are joining us. I am Guy Gaster with Visit North Carolina and happy to be helping host our March webinar here where we've invited back Lorraine Umfleet with the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources to talk about America 250 North Carolina events and more importantly, more details on grants that are available for local participation. And I don't want to steal her thunder, but there's money available now. And there will be money available as we continue on as these celebrations and festivities get underway. Before I turn it over to Renee, just a few notes. Of course, the State Tourism Conference is coming up this Sunday. We're looking forward to seeing all of you in Greenville. If by chance you haven't registered, it's not too late. I believe you can still access the registration online, and there is registration available on site. So we hope to see you all in Greenville starting on Sunday. And then one other reminder about Sunday, our evening festivities are a street party in downtown Greenville. So make sure you have appropriate layers. And of course, it's St. Patrick's Day. We're in North Carolina's Emerald City. So definitely encourage you to wear green to that event. Yes, thank you, Lorraine, on that. So again, we look forward to seeing you in Greenville. And Lorraine has confirmed there will be representatives from the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources in attendance. So if there are questions or additional follow-up that you don't get to ask or think of after this webinar, you can certainly look for individuals from DNCR at the conference and talk with them face-to-face about what we've discussed here or anything else related to the celebration. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Lorraine Umfleet, who is helping organize the statewide 250 celebration and has more information about what she has been busy doing and how you can be part of that. Take it away, Lorraine.
All righty, going to share my screen. Sorry for the moment of changeover. Can you see my screen?
You got it. Looks great.
Awesome. All right. So welcome everyone to a brief overview of what we're talking about when we say America 250 North Carolina. We are the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, and Governor Cooper has asked us to lead the charge for commemorating the 1776 signing of the Declaration of Independence, but also the entirety of the Revolutionary War. So our commemoration technically will run through 2033, but we're really focusing on now, which was the lead up to the revolution, and then our 2026 highlight year. So again, North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, as you might know, we are everything fun in North Carolina, from the zoo to the aquariums, parks, historic sites, you name it, we have the fun stuff. So you've probably visited one piece of us or another at any given time. So we've been talking about the semi-quincentennial since 2018 or so, and COVID interrupted that, but we have been at it hard and harder since 2020, 2019. And so there's a national America 250 organization. We are liaising with them off and on throughout the next coming years. They are going to be our tool to elevate our story to a national audience and share it widely. They know that places like Boston and Philadelphia will get a lot of visitation, but one of their goals is to send information about other places that have a story to tell about America 250. So that's where we can highlight North Carolina. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure that people in Boston and Philadelphia understand that there was a Southern component to the war. The American Association of State and Local History is also working on America 250, but they are doing it in a more professional development sort of way for people like me who work in museums and historic sites. So they are helping us do what we do a little bit better across the 250th. And we have our own planning guide here in North Carolina. This is accessible through the website. I will share this with Visit NC and they can pass this around if needed. But the planning guide that we've developed focuses on our themes and our goals for the statewide commemoration in North Carolina. We are launching our commemoration next month in Halifax at our state historic site there. Halifax was the site of the Halifax Resolves on April 12th, 1776. The delegates there at the Provincial Congress said to their representatives who were going to the Continental Congress that North Carolina is for independence from Great Britain. And so that makes North Carolina the first colony to declare that we wanted separation from England. So yay, North Carolina. And at Halifax State Historic Site on April 12th this year, we will be having lots of activities and games and historical interpretation with speakers and lots of folks in funny looking clothes doing the things that they do to tell you what it was like during the Revolutionary War for men, women, children, and free people of color, American Indians, enslaved people. So there are every facet of what it means to be a person in 1776 will be discussed. And going too fast. Look at that. Our North Carolina commemoration, as I said, is a multi-year statewide operation. I want to reflect all 250 years of our nation's history, not just 1776 snapshot. And we want to provide a legacy for the state for the next 50 years so that when they come to the 300th anniversary, they go, what did they do in 2026? Oh, they did that thing. And there's the thing that still represents the commemoration. And we see the involvement of partners in planning and implementation as very, very important to the whole scope of what we do. I would like for North Carolinians across the state, regardless of where they come from or how they live, that I want them to see themselves in this commemoration so that everyone feels a part of what we're doing. So we have two pillars of the way that we're approaching the commemoration. First is the revolutionary North Carolina. It's the events of the revolution. Greene and Cornwallis having a fight at Guilford Courthouse, or loyalists and patriots at Morse Creek Bridge. We're going to tell the military story of the war, but with a complete picture of that military story with all facets of life. And then we have When Are We Us? And you'll notice that the US is capitalized. And that framework is where we can talk about civic responsibility, overcoming challenges, what it means to be a resident of North Carolina and a resident of the United States, and how we've leaned into the ideals of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for all over the last 250 years, because freedom didn't fall out of the sky for everyone on July 4th, 1776. It's a long process to get where we are today. And I want to challenge people to think, can we do what we're doing better? And how can we include more people in this democratic process that we have in the United States? So we also have three themes that help us think a little bit more completely about what it means to commemorate this event. The first one is Visions of Freedom. This theme is about making and remaking America through these visions of freedom. The revolution was a start, and we are continuing that process. We also highlight things that made a better version of our state, whether it's the civil rights movement, women's suffrage, scientific, industrial developments. We've growing continuously who and what we are as North Carolinians. Another one is Gathering of Voices. This commemoration can't be told through one voice. Historic voices and stories can inspire us to think about how we do things today and how things have changed over history. So voices of protest, voices of freedom, those are very important voices that we want to hear. And finally, we have common ground. This one's my favorite because your view of a battlefield might be different than my view of a battlefield, and Tori's view of the battlefield would be different than an enslaved person's. And so we have to recognize that we're all students of history and we all are part of history, and we're makers of history. Our spaces of reverence, which are like battlefields, historic sites, the natural world, can be places of happiness, but also painful memories, evidence of struggles, rebirth, and growth. We carry all of our stories of this collective struggle and creativity and our relationships to one another. We come together on common ground to find these connections and find ways to make our state a better place. So we challenge people to think about even our natural world and conservation of our resources in this area. We have a statewide coordination that we've been working on, statewide stakeholders meeting. We have newsletters. You go to our website and you can sign up to receive our newsletters. And we are helping local planning committees with presentations like this one, and we're doing outreach to other state commissions. We're partnering specifically with South Carolina and Virginia, our neighbors, to advertise activities and things that we're doing in North Carolina and get them to come visit North Carolina instead of staying in their state. And they're going to be doing the same thing within our state to bring people to their states. And there are going to be some cross-state participatory events too. And you see our lovely new Airstream. We have this outfitted with tents and activities and games and exhibits and all kinds of fun stuff that we can bring to your event. And you can request an Airstream on our website. We're only human, we can't do them all, but we will try to do as many as possible. So please think about adding our Airstream and the interactive activities that we'll bring with it to your events. So we have very many products that our department is creating, and we're working with outside partners to create more. We have a large number of online resources. We're doing educational outreach. We're teaching teachers how to teach the Revolutionary War stories. We're creating new curriculum materials to fill in gaps. We have lots of events and programs planned at all of our entities across the state. We're doing a wayside program, and we're developing community resources to help communities do the commemoration as well as possible in their community. Some of the online resources are videos, there's online exhibits, digital collections, and podcasts. We're going to be having a series of podcasts to help our local communities do things like collecting stories from the community about a particular topic. If there's the community that saw a strong presence in the civil rights movement, let's interview the members of the civil rights movement that were there before we lose those histories, things like that. We're also working to collect a wide variety of information that we can put on our website that we can help people do things that we feel like are some of the best examples of collecting the local histories. Educational outreach, I've already spoken to this a little bit, but we have online our NCpedia and NCR. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but gosh, that was loud. So we have NC Anchor and NCpedia. And if you have a question about North Carolina history, who's it's and the what's it's and the firsts and the then and the that, go to NCpedia, just go to Google and type NCpedia and then the thing. And more than likely we'll have something that pops up that can be a reliable source for information about North Carolina history. And these are the waysides that we are going to be installing across the state. You can request a wayside. There's grant money to fund the waysides, and we can assist with pulling the content together, finding images, and installation of these waysides. And they will be eventually all linked to a map like the one we have here, and they will be searchable, and a trail will emerge that can pull people through North Carolina and tracing the history of the Revolutionary War through these waysides, bringing people to communities to learn all about the great stuff that's in these little communities all over the state. And this map of points is the Revolutionary War markers that are already in place along roadways. the white history on a stick things. So this map's accessible on our website, and you can zoom in and find out what sorts of revolutionary history is already marked in your community. We have the North Carolina Symphony as part of our department. They will be creating an original work by a North Carolina group, and that will be performed in community concerts all over the state. They already do free concerts, so these new free concerts will be featuring North Carolina history and composers and music, and also very much a good patriotic concert to listen to in 2026. We have special exhibits in museums, special programs, and we're focusing on our natural heritage by using the red wolf, who is down there in our corner photo, as our mascot. The red wolf is an endangered species in North Carolina when during the Revolutionary War it was everywhere. So we are doing work with our state zoo, who has a rescue and release program to highlight the conservation of red wolves and other animals in North Carolina. Haven't gotten a photo of a red wolf in a tricorn hat yet, but it will happen. Our community resources, they include traveling exhibits and online exhibits that you can print on demand. But if you can't really do the print on demand, you can request for free the traveling exhibits. We have toolkits and workshop tools, branding guides, activity kits for children that will be available in museums and libraries across the state that children, families can check out for free. We have a series of children's books that we're writing and a statewide events calendar that you can add your own events to so that we don't have to do all of them. So you ask yourself, what can we do to get involved? Well, there are multiple levels of things that folks like you can be a catalyst for. First of all, we need to foster county committees. If there's not already a county committee in your area, please consider working with your county board of commissioners, your TDA, your museums, whatever entity in your county works best to create a county committee. And we hope that we get one county committee that's official from every county. And then we would like and encourage that county committee to make sure that it represents the whole county. All the little municipalities and townships in the county have someone on the committee and a diversity of skill sets, a communications plan. And then that means that that committee can really reflect the needs of the county when it comes to ideas about commemoration. And how to form a committee, a step-by-step guide. This is on our website, took it straight from the website. And really, there are just a few steps. Find out if your county already has a committee. We have a map you can hover over on our website. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Gather the stakeholders from the committee, from the county, collect their information, give your county a name, your committee a name, and pass a resolution. We have a template, and register your committee with us. Here's that template. Just fill in the blanks and you will have a resolution ready for your county board of commissioners to pass. And once that county committee is formed, you are eligible to apply for grants from the department. We have two kinds of grants. You can see the legislation enabling right here. We have up to $1 million for grants of $10,000 each to counties once their county committee is formed up. And then we also have grants that are available to nonprofits and even counties again that are up to $30,000. And there is a small match. It's 10 to 15% depending on your county's economic tier. So let's talk a little bit more about these grants. The county committee grants, there is one per county. It's $10,000. It's only for this fiscal year, so you have to get your county committee organized and the application in by May 3rd. There's no match required for that $10,000, and it can be used for any number of activities that I have listed on this page. This information is also on our website, and you can download and print the information so that you can take it to your colleagues and start talking and brainstorming about how you can do some really interesting things. The matching grants, those that go up to $30,000, there's the closing date for them of May 3rd this year, but it'll reopen next year and there'll be a second round of these. However, we've got the money. If you got the idea, go ahead and apply. Your 501c3 can go ahead and apply for these by May 3rd and start work on planning an exhibit or a wayside or putting up a local marker. If you don't really have a definitive story of what happened in your area during the Revolutionary War or the Civil Rights Movement, you can pay for someone to do the research to put together a framework for you to commemorate. So there's any number of things that you can do with our funding. And then if you say, well, I live somewhere where I don't think there's any Revolutionary War history, I'm really, really going to go through this quickly because I want people to understand that anywhere in North Carolina, there's something going on during the Revolutionary War era. So beginning with 1776, we have conflicts on both ends of the state, Morse Creek Bridge and the expedition against the Cherokee, which was essentially genocide for the Cherokee. And that's a hard story to tell, but we have to tell all of our history. And we're working with the Cherokee to hopefully get that story told through their lens, not the lens of the folks doing the bad stuff. We also have in the Piedmont of North Carolina throughout the Revolution, there was activities where we had loyalists and patriots arguing about which side was the best. And that was a big story to be told throughout the Piedmont in most of the wartime period. So we're going to help some of those areas tell those stories. In 1780-81, we have a lot of activity in the Western Piedmont, from South Carolina through North Carolina up to Virginia and then back into North Carolina, culminating in the battle at Guilford Courthouse in Greensboro. So we're going to tell that story. It's called the Race to the Dan because the British were chasing the Americans all the way through North Carolina. And sometimes the chase was just a matter of minutes that the British just missed the American troops crossing a river and all the boats would they're on the other side of the river. What are you going to do? Wave at the British. So we have a really cool story to tell there. After the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, the British troops marched through North Carolina down to Wilmington, camp out in Wilmington for a little while. Then they march up through along the 95 corridor almost to Virginia. And because of what North Carolina did to Cornwallis, and how tired he was and how his troops were worn out, many were wounded, he got to Virginia and he pretty much was ready to say, I'm done with this and surrender at Yorktown. So yes, he surrendered in Virginia, but because of North Carolina, he was ready to surrender. And in the western areas, again, we have the Overmountain Victory Trail where men from the Piedmont or from the mountains of North Carolina coalesced into a column of fighters that tramped down to Kings Mountain and made sure that the battle at Kings Mountain went in the direction of the American forces. And that was a pivotal battle for the state and the nation as the war progressed. And along the coastal areas of North Carolina, we have to tell the story of the privateering activities, of raiding British troop ships and supply ships and taking those supplies and using them for the American forces. And, British raids on our ports were always a threat. And they didn't get the memo after Yorktown surrender, and British forces sacked the town of Beaufort after the surrender. So there's a lot of stories to tell about the coastal areas. So that's North Carolina in a nutshell. So no matter where you live, there's a story that you can tell. Our family is getting involved. All of our critters are getting involved. You're looking at the beginning of a campaign that will probably go on social media to get folks to think about getting even their pets into the revolutionary spirit, whether they want to or not. And our goal is a robust, comprehensive, inclusive statewide program in all 100 counties for everyone to find themselves, We want local partnerships to promote planning and carrying out of community events. And we will connect you to the national commemoration and elevate your events to the national level so that you hopefully can get a large number of people coming to the events that you'll have in your communities. So that's the end of my slideshow. I can take questions now. I'll stop sharing my screen so that we can see everyone. So thank you for letting me talk for a few minutes about what we're doing, and I'll answer any questions.
All right, great. Thank you, Lorraine. Great stuff. I know we have some questions coming in. And if people want to keep sending them in, please do so. The first question we had was about the Airstream. Someone was looking to, I guess, I believe you said it is available to request to possibly make appearances in local communities.
Yes.
Where specifically can they find that? And if it's on the website, is there a direct page you could direct them to?
I know a form is in the works. It may not be live on the website yet, but there is our contact us, and you can use our contact us email address to ask anything, even if there's a form. Just go ahead and ask us. We'll respond as needed to the email address there. It's America250NC at dncr.nc.gov.
There you go. All right.
So,
And I do want to give a special shout out in looking on the website and apologize if it hasn't been updated, but it looks like we've got 5 counties who have formalized their county committees. So Camden, Halifax, Johnston, Mecklenburg, and Watauga. So completely across the state got representation. So a big shout out to those 5 counties for getting that set up, and there are several that are in the works as well. That map is very helpful for those who, if you get a chance. I know we linked a couple of links in the website or in the chat as well, but there's definitely those county maps so you can see, if you're not already familiar, if conversations have been started with your county specifically.
and if you need help getting started, if you don't know which way to go, reach out. Every county is different. I understand that. And we are wrangling 100 counties of cats, and there are lots of cats in each county. That's why we're hoping that there'll be one committee and one liaison for each committee, but we'll do what we have to do to help you get started.
Okay. Very popular question for each and every webinar. Will this presentation be available to participants? Certainly we're doing a recording of this webinar, and we'll post that on the Visit NC Industry Partners YouTube page, which you can access directly there through YouTube or our website, partners.visitnc.com. But Lorraine, would you mind forwarding me the deck as well, and we could send that out to everyone that participated?
Certainly, I will certainly do that.
All right.
And I see a question about the grants and matching, right? Is that the
Oh
next
yes,
one?
there's a couple of good ones here
Yeah,
for you. So for the $30,000 grant, does the match need to come from the nonprofit applying, or can it come from other partners?
it can come from whichever direction you need it to come from. It can be a cash match. It can be a match in the form of time that the partners spend on the project, like an official employee of one of the partners tracks their time, and their time is worth a certain amount of money per hour. And once they contribute those hours, they can say that that's their share of the match. And the other option is that the course of the project, somebody donates something to the project. Maybe they need porta potties for the event, and the porta potty company says, we'll donate 3 porta potties if you'll rent 3 porta potties. And the value of those 3 porta potties is a part of the cost share. And it can be pulled together from a variety of sources. It doesn't have to be from one place. However, if you think about it, it's $3,000 for a tier 1 county to have a match because it's only 10%. So $3,000 in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, and you can pull that from any number of sources. But if you have a
Does
question, reach out. We can work through it.
does advertising the event possibly
Mhm.
count as part of as the match as well?
Yeah, the cost of an advertising piece in the local paper or our state magazine certainly could be part of that match.
Okay. There you go, folks. Something you were probably already doing anyway or had the money set up. So yeah, it sounds like it could be there, and just reach out if there's a question.
Yeah,
Great.
and yeah, we're always about work smarter, not harder. So if you have a county uh, a celebration, a watermelon festival, dogwood festival, shad festival, just in 2026, put a 250 spin on it and get some living history reenactors or some educational materials going, or an exhibit in the local museum, and that puts your 250 things into action.
Oh, wow. Great tip there. Speaking of work smarter, not harder, if a group of counties want to create a project for grant funding, how would that be handled?
Just whichever county wanted to be the lead and the fiscal agent, that would be the applicant. And in the course of the description in your narrative, explain how this is going to be working. Maybe add letters of support and letters of commitment to the application so that we can see that you truly do have all these entities working together. Down in southeastern North Carolina, Pender County, Brunswick County, New Hanover County, are all working together for a commemorative planning activity that they're planning it now, and they'll carry it out in January and February 2026 around the Battle of Morse Creek Bridge. And all those counties will be doing things that whole time to commemorate what their local history is, because history doesn't care about county borders. It
Right.
cares about the geography. So all three of those counties are involved heavily in activities in 1776.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give a moment to see if any other questions come in. While we do that, I do want to remind you in April, our next webinar is April 11th, and we're going to be talking about Outdoor NC's new Accessible Outdoors program. And very excited to have someone come aboard who will have a trail accessibility asset tool to share with our counties. And it's, to me, I found this fascinating because it's not saying here's what you need to do to make your trails accessible, but it is being transparent about how accessible your trails already are, and letting folks know that information in advance so they can prepare for what they're comfortable with. So even though you may have, this is a really bad example, but I'll throw it out there. You may have a trail that has some stairs, and therefore you're like, well, that's not, if people have physical disabilities, maybe that's not an accessible trail. What this toolkit is going to help you do is say, well, actually, maybe it is, because if those stairs are further along on the trail, as long as you're letting individuals know where the stairs are, they may be able to enjoy the trail up into those stairs. So it's definitely, I think, taking a different look at how maybe we've thought about accessibility before. So really looking forward to sharing that information with you guys. All right, we do have an additional question that came in. Oh, can an entity apply for for the grant multiple times? And then can the same entity apply for, I guess, multiple grants for multiple projects?
Yes, however, you don't want to compete against yourself.
Okay.
You know, we have a grant window right now through May 3rd, and counties can get the 10,000. They can also apply for the 30,000. And then our next county application period will be next fiscal year. So you can apply for a grant in that fiscal year as well. So yes, you
And
can apply multiple times for multiple different projects, but perhaps you pull everything together and make a cohesive argument for multiple things happening all at the same time in the single grant application. If you can do that, so you don't compete against yourself.
Okay. And I guess the same, Lorray, if you knew what an event would be, but you want to apply now to help with some
Pre-planning.
pre-production, and then you could apply next fiscal year for the actual running of the event. Am I understanding that correctly as well?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So say you need that research done. So you apply for a grant and you get it and you get the research done. And then the next phase would be creating an exhibit based on the new findings. Yes, you can apply for, a phased approach to whatever it is that you're doing. Certainly.
Great.
Or planning for the thing. You get a planner or some sort of social media contracting company or something like that to plan your event or your activity, and then you get money to implement it the next phase. Yes.
Okay.
And if you have a question, if there's something you want to consider doing with a grant application, but you don't really see it overtly stated in eligible activities, again, reach out. We will work with you to see if that will apply some way from an activity. Can a regional nonprofit apply? Yes. Yes.
I was going to say, can I take this one as long as it runs through the county contact? Is that correct?
No.
Oh, no, see, perfect.
So the $30,000 grant is open to any entity in any capacity in North Carolina, as long as you are a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you cover multiple counties and you're doing a program or an event that is applicable, it's eligible activity, yes, you can apply for that.
There you go.
Yes.
All right, last call. Any other ones? I think one thing I've definitely learned, Lorray and her team are available and seem to be very flexible here.
We're trying to be as
So
open and available as possible. I mean, the state legislature gave us this money to share with our constituents, and we're trying to do it in a responsible way, but in a way that reflects the needs of the state.
And uses the money. So,
correct.
Yes. So definitely reach out to Lorray and her team. She put her email in the chat, and definitely contact information is available on the website. There was a ask for clarification. Only nonprofits can apply for the 30,000. Is that correct?
We're opening the 30,000 to counties and municipalities next year. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what it, yeah, because the $10,000 grants are only available this fiscal year, and any money that's not granted this fiscal year will roll over into next fiscal year, and we can grant to counties and cities and things like that. But they need to be a county or municipality and a 501c3 to qualify for the 30,000.
Okay. All right.
We didn't really build in any government agency eligibility. So work through your nonprofit support groups if you have them.
Great. All right. Very good. Well, Lorray, it's been a pleasure having you join us again. Thank you for this information. Again, a lot of great info can be found at the website, america250nc.gov. And from there, both for how to apply for the grants as well as how to find the various activities that will be taking place as part of this celebration. And if you do have additional questions, as we mentioned before, there will be representatives from DNCR at the Visit NC Tourism Conference coming up here in Greenville. So they can also take those questions. And if they can't answer them, then they'll certainly tell you to get in touch with Lorray. So yes, we're looking forward to it. Thank you again for sharing this information. And thank you guys for participating today. Again, we look forward to seeing you in Greenville, and mark it on your calendars, April 11th, our next webinar, talking about our Accessible Outdoors program. Until then, hope everyone has a great day, and thanks again for all you do.
Thank
Bye now.
you.